Are you your own best friend or your own worst enemy? Because most men think all the problems are coming from the outside: the job, the colleagues, the wife, the kids, the money, the economy, the government, the matrix, the haters. But here's the brutal truth. None of that's your biggest problem. The real war is happening right here. Because every single day you wake up with a voice inside your head, and that voice can either be your greatest ally, your ride or die, your best friend. It can be that snake in the grass that strangles every ounce of potential and self-belief that you've got out of you. It can be your own worst enemy. So you got to ask yourself, really, are you your own best friend or your own worst enemy? Not just what you think you should answer. Because here's the kicker: right now, most men are living with an enemy inside their own head. So you don't need people out there to doubt you, because you already doubt yourself. You don't need haters because you already hate yourself. You don't even need an opponent because you're already fighting yourself. So today we're going to rip apart that. We're going to rip it wide open, because until you master this, until you start to become your own best friend, nothing else matters. Because what's the point in becoming more successful, getting in better shape, doing all this, if you've got your worst enemy inside your head trying to rip it all down? No money, no success, no status, because you just self-destruct. But once you flip it round, you turn that inner voice into an ally, and that's when you can start to become unfuckwithable. So here's what being your own worst enemy looks like, because you already probably know, because this is probably how you're living like. That's why you clicked on this video in the first place. So let's call it out for exactly what it is. Being your own worst enemy looks like this. You already wake up in the morning doubting yourself. You look in the mirror and you see flaws and you point out flaws, not potential. You make promises to yourself and you never keep them. You say you're going to train and cut down that body fat, but you don't. You say you're going to stop drinking, but you don't. You say you're going to stop sniffing and going to see escorts, but you don't. You say you'll change, but you don't. And every time you do that, every time you betray yourself, you reinforce the enemy's voice. You confirm the belief that you're just weak, that you're full of shit, and that you don't have what it takes. And you know what that creates? It creates a life of quiet misery. The guy who looks like he's successful on the outside, nice car, decent house, family photos on Instagram and social media, but inside he's dying, can't sleep at night, overthinking every decision, drained, anxious, overthinking, restless, frustrated. Why? Because he doesn't trust himself. He's at war with himself. And that's what happens with most of the clients that come to work with me. They look good on paper, but inside here they're fucked. And here's the worst part: that voice, the enemy, it doesn't scream at you. It whispers, start tomorrow. Just take a break, mate, you've earned it. Or 1 pint, 1 bag of Coke won't hurt. It's not that deep. And that kills you in comfort. It kills you in softness. And before you know it, years have passed by and you're living a life that you never wanted, because you lost the battle to your own worst enemy. Your own worst enemy that's living inside your own head. But let me flip it to the other side. So what does being your own best friend look like? Because I've lived both sides of it. So what does being your own best friend really look like? It's not just about being nice to yourself and patting yourself on the back saying, good job, mate, you're doing really well today. You did really well to push through that. It's not just about bubble baths and self-care quotes and motivational quotes on Instagram. That's all great as well, but it's about loyalty, respect, and brutal honesty. It means being your own best friend. It means hyping yourself up when nobody else does, because there isn't always going to be somewhere there to clap for you. You keep your word even when nobody's watching. You don't lie to yourself. You don't sugarcoat it. You call yourself out when you're slacking and you're being a little bitch. You hold yourself to the highest standard because you know that you're worth it. You know that you're worth it. It's waking up and saying that no matter what happens today, I've got you. I've got your back. I won't betray you. I won't leave you hanging. I'll do what I said I'm going to do. I've got my daily non-negotiable actions that I have to do to move forward, and they're getting done. That's how you build trust with yourself. That's how you build inner strength. And that's how you build the confidence that can't be shaken by anyone or anything. Because think about it. If you're your own best friend, then you're never going to be alone. You're never going to feel like the world's just out to get to you and you're stuck. You're always going to have somebody in your corner giving you wise words, telling you to push through, telling you that everything's going to fall into place. And if you're in your own corner, no enemy out there can ever beat you. No evil shall prosper against you. And that's why aligned men who've mastered this walk differently, talk differently, and live differently, because they're not just searching for validation. They're not fragile. They're grounded, they're strong, and they're clear, because they know they've already won the hardest war, and that's the war with themselves. So here's just a bit of a story from my own life, and something that you probably relate to that's a bit of a painful one. So let me just make it real for you. Years ago, I was the enemy in my own life. I was selling drugs, I was taking drugs, I was killing my community around me, wasting my own potential, drowning in addiction, getting in trouble with the police, destroying all my relationships and friendships. And on the outside, looking in, I might have even looked like I had it together because I had money in my pocket and some nice designer clothes and nights out and people around me in the photos. But inside, I hated myself. And I broke every promise I made to myself. And every time I did, it was like stabbing myself in my own back. And I was my own worst enemy. And it didn't matter who was against me. Didn't matter what opportunities came my way. I sabotaged absolutely everything. So fast forward to now. I rebuilt. I aligned. I became my own best friend. And here's the actual proof of it. I've been sober for over a year. I'm getting shredded. I'm training every single day. I've got title fights coming up. I'm building businesses. I'm helping other high-performing men transform and get aligned. And it's beautiful. And it's not because the outside world changed. It's not because I got lucky. It's because I stopped fighting myself and being my own worst enemy. And I started being my own best friend and believing in myself, even on the days when I feel like shit. That's the difference. That's the shift. That's why I can sit here and speak with this conviction, because I've lived both sides of it. So it's all good giving me this hyped up motivation, but let me just get into some practical framework and some actionable steps you can finish this video and get working into. So how do you make a shift? How do you go from being your own worst enemy to start becoming your own best friend? I'll give you the framework, and it starts with these 4 steps. You've got to start by auditing your self-talk. So every time you catch yourself talking shit to yourself, about yourself, stop it. Ask yourself, would I say this to my best mate? And if not, then why the fuck are you saying it to yourself? Number 2 is start keeping your small promises, because confidence doesn't come from motivational quotes, it comes from evidence. Every time you keep a promise, even the tiny ones, like I'll get up when my alarm rings, you add a brick of trust in yourself, you stack those bricks daily, you build an unshakable wall of self-respect. You start building rituals of loyalty. That's number 3. My daily non-negotiables: training, reading, journaling and meditation. And these aren't chores. These are actually probably the most happiest moments of my day. These are the proof to yourself that you show up for yourself every single day. Your enemy seeks excuses. Your best friend seeks discipline and progress and growth and fulfillment. So number 4, you need to starve the enemy and start feeding the ally. So when that inner voice whispers weakness, don't negotiate. The moment you start negotiating with your enemy, you've already lost. So instead, feed the voice of your best friend. Encourage yourself. Push yourself forward. Call yourself higher. And do this every single day consistently, and you'll start to feel the shift, and it will go from self-sabotage to self-respect. Let me say that again. It will go from self-sabotage to self-respect, from weakness to strength, from enemy to ally, from worst enemy to best friend. But here are a few consequences if you don't change and you keep living life as your worst enemy. I'll just be real with you for a second. If you ignore this and you keep being your own worst enemy, here's exactly what's going to happen. You'll just keep betraying yourself. You're going to never ever be able to trust yourself. Your relationships and your friendships will suffer, because if you don't respect yourself and love yourself, then nobody else will. Your career or your business is going to stall, because you'll always find a way to self-sabotage the progress, and you'll live with a regret, quiet misery. And that's the worst kind of pain that a man can carry. And do you want to know the scariest part? You'll start to normalize it. You'll accept that as that's just how life is. Everything's out to get me. You'll convince yourself that this is as good as it gets. But I promise you, there's so many more levels of life that you can enjoy. And that's how the enemy wins. Not by destroying you in one day, but by slowly convincing you to accept mediocrity. Do not let that be you. And on the flip side of that, here's the vision if you do change and you can start being your own best friend. So I want you to picture the opposite of that. You wake up in the morning and the first voice you hear isn't doubt and negative self-talk. It's clarity, excitement. It says, yo, we've got this. Let's go. Get up, train, eat right, handle business, do my income generating activities, lead, build life brick by brick by brick until you look in the mirror and look around at your life and see someone and something that you respect. Your relationships will start to change. People respect you more because they can feel that you respect yourself. Opportunities open up because you're disciplined and you're confident, and you stop needing validation from the world because you already validate yourself. And that's exactly what being your own best friend really gives you, and that's exactly what alignment is. That's what becoming unfuckwithable really means. So here's the question again. Are you your own best friend or your own worst enemy? I want you to really just stop and have a think about it. I've outlined what each one looks like, so I want you to be honest with yourself. The answer doesn't make any difference to me, but it should do to you, because the answer to that question is the answer to your entire life and your future. Because the world doesn't need to break you if you're already broken inside and actively breaking yourself more. But the world also can't break you if you've built yourself and you're solid inside. So from today, stop betraying yourself. Start backing yourself. Become your own best friend. And if you want help putting this into action, aligning your mindset, your movement and your money, and truly becoming unfuckwithable, I've built a free system for men just like you, high performing men. And it's called the Alignment Blueprint. It's free and the link's in the description. You've got to download it, study it, and most importantly, apply it. Because the moment you shift from being your own worst enemy to your own best friend, that's the moment that your entire life changes. So click the link in the description, download the blueprint, and I'll see you in the next video.